Hi everyone, I'm Carolina Monte and this is what's happening in Brazil. We start by updating you on the latest news from the country. Brazil has moved up 5 positions in the United Nations Human Development Index rating, but there's still a long way to go. The country is now in 84th place. The index analyzed 193 countries about life expectancy, education, and GDP. The Workers' Day, May 1st, had protests all over the country for better work conditions. During the day, trade unions and popular movements held demonstrations in different cities. One of the demands was the end to the 6-day work week. 13 cities from Amazonas state have entered a state of emergency due to river flooding. Other 31 cities are in state of alert. It is estimated that 144,000 people have been affected by the quick rise of the rivers. The floods are a consequence of the rainy season, which is being worsened by climate change. After more than a decade of waiting, Brazilian fans of singer Lady Gaga could finally watch her biggest concert ever at Copacabana Beach in Rio de Janeiro. More than 2 million people attended the show that was part of the Mayhem Tour, which includes songs from the singer's latest album. The only incident took place one day after the event, when a man was arrested suspected of planning homemade bomb attacks during the concert. 7 more people were indicted for participating in the coup attempt in January 2023. The group is accused of spreading fake news and attacking the electoral process and authorities. They joined 2 other groups already indicted, which include former President Jair Bolsonaro. After the negative impact of the Belo hydroelectric dam, residents of Volta Grande do Xingu face a new threat: the installation of the Belo Sun Mining Company, which could create the largest open-pit gold mine in the world. Local communities denounce threats, harassment, and abandonment by the authorities.
10 years ago, the damming of the Xingu River by the Belo hydroelectric dam drastically reduced the river's flow in the Volta Grande do Xingu area in the state of Pará, northern Brazil. The environmental collapse it caused has damaged the economy and food security of peasant, riverside, and indigenous communities. Now, the region faces a new threat: the installation of the Belo Sun Mining Company, which intends to extract around 6 tons of gold per year. The project also plans to dump 35 million cubic meters of toxic waste on the banks of the already endangered river. Diogo Cabral is the lawyer of the Xingu Alive Forever movement, one of the organizations working with the families resisting Belo Sun.
Belo Sun, em relação a essas
For a while now, Belo Sun has been trying to use extrajudicial judicial mechanisms against these families, worker families, riverside dwellers, indigenous, to create embarrassment and to promote specific situations of fear and panic. All of these situations are related to a conflict over the possession and ownership of land in the heart of the Amazon, which has been occupied for a long time by settlers or rural workers.
One of the main legal disputes involving Belo Sun is over who is responsible for environmental licensing. The Brazilian Institute for the Environment and Renewable Natural Resources, known as IBAMA, refuses to take over the process, claiming that the project does not affect indigenous lands, which contradicts the opinions of the Federal Public Ministry and local researchers. In January 2024, the Federal Regional Court of the First Region returned the responsibility for the installation license for this kind of project to the Environmental Secretariat of Pará State. This license had already been granted in 2017, but a court decision suspended it. One of the reasons was the lack of prior consultation, a right that guarantees indigenous peoples should be heard before the advance of projects that could affect their territories. Amid this impasse, many activists, encampers, and settlers avoid speaking publicly about the mining company for fear of lawsuits. A human rights activist anonymously reported cases of judicial harassment and threats made by Invictus, the private security company hired by Belo Sun.
Por diversas vezes houve
On several occasions, shots were fired at the encampers, a fact reported to the Agrarian Crimes Police Station here in Altamira, but to no avail. The police went to the area because the National Commission to Combat Violence in the Countryside insisted. It made rounds in the camp. While they are doing these rounds, the harassment decreased. But then they stopped. There was no further investigation that we know of. And the harassment started all over again, with new intimidation and provocation. And Belo Sun began slandering us in the local media.
Environmental activists are also denouncing the mining company's harassment targeting native communities. According to some people, the São Francisco indigenous community, which is within an area targeted by Belo Sun, gave up to demarcate their land. In a statement, Belo Sun said that it respects the current legislation and will comply with all the judicial decisions.
And we'll continue to talk about the state of Pará. But now the topic is a super cool education initiative by the community for the community. It's the Ananda Marga Neo-Humanist Education Center, where early childhood education projects, yoga classes, a library, and other activities are developed in Belém, the state capital.
Founded by communities that occupied land plots in the area surrounding the Orá garbage dump, which served the metropolitan region of Belém, Pará capital, the Ananda Marga Neo-Humanist Education Center, or Senhamar, is an experience that was born out of the struggle for public policies. Lúcia Rodrigues is one of the project's founders.
Na década de 90 é bem.
In the 1990s, it was very precarious. There were no public services in the community, no school, no health center, not only in the community but also in the neighboring area. The only thing that existed was the families of pickers trying to survive by collecting recyclable material from the Aura dump.
Adivinhe quem eu sou?
Built by and for the Moara community in the neighborhood of Águas Lindas, the project develops the so-called Neo-Humanist education based on the Buddhist philosophy of the Nun Ananda Marga.
Foi uma adesão pessoal e uma adesão também coletiva de trazer essa proposta.
So it was both a personal and collective commitment to bring in this proposal. And I really like the Neo-Humanist proposal because it works with integral and ecological education. Integral and integrated education. It really looks to nature, the well-being of nature, and not just human beings. I thought it would be interesting to put this philosophy into practice here in the community.
Ananda Marga, o lema é autorrealização.
Ananda Marga's motto is self-realization in the service of spirituality. Spirituality should go hand in hand with social work because spirituality is about love, solidarity, in the field of education, in the field of health.
Senhamar, which is maintained by public notices and the families living in the community, has a nursery school, the Moara Community Library, and offers services to the community such as ballet classes, yoga, storytelling, and other cultural events.
The activities in the library motivate the children. They get out of the school routine and come to the library to get to know the literary world of books, educational games, the art of reading, and also create that intimate relationship with books and reading. From then on, their world will be much better with reading. because they are currently too focused on their cell phones and digital games. Here they deal with books, real books, printed books, which are amazing. When I came here, I walked in and I was amazed. A library here, like this, it's hidden. But I wasn't interested at first. I only became interested when I really got to know the project. I started when there were reading sessions here, when they told me to read a little bit and I couldn't read properly, because my reading was very bad. Then they introduced me to a lot of books, and I got interested in reading them.
The project focuses not only on developing children's reading capabilities and education, but also provides them with healthy food, a detail that changes everything.
Diferente das outras escolas, né?
I think it has a very different environment compared to that of other schools when you consider kids' education and health. Here they have a library and other schools don't. I think it's great.
Did you like the show? So hit the like button and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to receive notifications. We'll see you next week.